What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rebel Yankee Podcast, where it's God first, guts and guns. I'm your host, Jan Backus, and joining me today is a son of a king, a husband, a father, a firearms instructor, former Weld County 911 dispatcher, currently on the ministry leadership team of Celebrate Recovery at Grace Community Church, and on a journey to become a chaplain.
Yeah.
Welcome to the studio, Matt.
Thanks, Jan.
Yeah, it's been about a decade since we've hung out.
Plus, probably between 8-10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm excited to have you here. Nice thing about this podcast is I get to catch up with people and talk about God.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
God, guns, and guts, man.
God, guts, and guns. Yes, sir. Today's episode topics, Matt, we're going to talk about a message I received from an old friend of mine today. Choosing Jesus every single time, over and over again.
Yes.
The life of a 911 dispatcher, because you did that for a nice chunk of your life there.
6.5 years, yeah.
Yep. Stepping into God's calling over your life, which will probably tie into Celebrate Recovery and becoming a chaplain.
Yep.
And my first beekeeping experience.
I've been actually pretty interested in that, so thanks for having that on the topic today.
Nice. You should go back and listen to, I don't know the number, but my buddy Casey O'Day.
Yeah.
Did you see that episode?
No, it's in my, I'm still getting caught up, but that's in my save files.
Yeah, he is the beekeeper, man. So he took me out the other day. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw your get up. It was looking a little wild there.
Yeah. All right. As a reminder, we are just a couple dudes that love the Lord. We are not pastors or teachers, and we don't have this whole thing figured out. We encourage you to open up your Bibles, dig into these verses, and see what God reveals to you. Your sin isn't any sinnier than our sin, and we are talking to ourselves just as much, if not more, than we're talking to anybody else. We're not perfect. We're just a couple dudes with microphones.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jan. Before we get rolling, wanted to bring you a couple of things here.
Yeah.
So this is a tattoo that I had of my dad made up.
Oh, no way.
Jam and I served on the Flatiron safety team for, were you there for about as long as I was? I was on there for about 10 years.
I was there 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, I was probably on the team for 5. Somewhere around. But I knew Dick. I knew your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
Very well respected.
Yeah.
Yeah. He left a legacy for sure.
Yeah. It was hard losing him in 19, man. Pretty hard. But his nickname in Vietnam was Frog.
Okay.
He was out on patrol once he finally got to rotate over to Vietnam. He was out on patrol and in his rain slicker, and grab that here, get it into the camera. But he was wearing his rain slicker and his boonie hat with his M16 squatted down, and his I think it was his lieutenant was with him, and Bullard, you look like a damn frog.
Well, we're going to represent that right away. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And just to go along with your show, I worked at a cigar store for 2.5 years prior to Flatirons.
Nice.
So a lot of time spent with some good people, good stories and whatnot. But it was also just a lot of chill time with Dad. You know, sitting there with cigars and pipes, just hanging out.
That's beautiful.
And this is one of the lighters he picked up from us. You're going to have to read the inscription on there.
Matt, you know I'm going to be 54.
That's young, man. That's new, like 38, ain't it?
I can see they're going to have to pry it from my cold dead hand.
Yeah.
Yes, I see that part. And it's got a Federal 45 auto on it. Oh, this is cool. Oh, wow. I mean, it looks like an antique and it's all modern.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll put this in. I got a perfect spot for this at home. I love it.
Yeah. That was a brotherhood that was kind of hard to leave behind at Flatirons when we left. And you and me were the kind of solo guys there for a year or so down at the Denver campus.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there was a lot of good times. Definitely made a lot of good friends. Some of them I haven't seen in a while. I learned a lot about protection at Flatirons.
Yeah.
That team took protection very seriously, which is really cool because I've been on some other teams that were a little less ambitious. But yeah, I mean, we got to do some cool things and meet some cool people, and I still keep in touch with some of the folks from there. Yep. But yeah, it was good because I got to bring some of that experience to the Red Rocks team, and yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I thought that's where you had floated to from Flatirons, but I was, like I said, fortunately I got behind on your podcast and getting caught up. But you're now up here in Erie at the Orthodox Church up there?
Yeah, St. Luke Orthodox Christian Church in Erie, Colorado.
Wow, man, that's a bit of a jump from you were an Orthodox Jew to now here?
Yes. Everything's coming full circle. I'm actually getting ready to be received into the church on April 11th.
Nice.
The day before. So Orthodox Easter or Pascha is the 12th, not the 5th. We just use the Julian calendar, or I don't know. It's just a calendar difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited. It's been a journey. I've been going there since I think last August, maybe.
I thought that's about when I saw it.
Yeah. Are you living in Erie?
We used to. When Dad died, we sold the house, moved Mom and all of us up to Erie.
Okay.
But I was a campus middle school or campus supervisor at the Erie Middle School there.
Oh, okay.
For about 6 years.
Okay.
So that I know that Erie community, and I used to when I was a Pokemon Go guy, they had a Pokemon gym at that church. So that was one of my stops on the way home all the time.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful church. If you've never been inside, man, it's really, really beautiful. And that's all I could really say. It's been a really beautiful experience spiritually. Yeah, I'm excited. So,
yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to come down sometime and check it out with you.
I would love it. I would love it. Absolutely. All right. Oh, I knew you were coming, so I brought you some stickers.
All right. Well, one or...
You can have as many as you want.
Thanks, boss. I was looking for these because they're going to go right there.
Perfect. That's funny. All right. So on this show, you probably know, Matt, we take care of kingdom business first.
Amen.
Are you able to tell me how God has been moving in your life recently? You know, is there anything going on in the last couple of weeks that you feel God's been stirring something up in you?
Oh, just still continuing on, like you were saying there in the intro. Just continuing with John 13, 34, and 35. A new commandment I give you is love one another. As I have loved you, so must you love one another. By that, everyone will know you are my disciples if you love one another.
That's a powerful verse.
Yeah.
It's, love God, love people.
Yeah. And it really, I mean, it's simple, but the subtlety that's been on my mind the last week or so, and even in some of the talks I've had to have with some people, has been, as I have loved you, so must you love one another. It's not our love that matters. It's his love in us and loving through us to others. Wow,
I like the way you broke that down. Yeah, I mean, if you're not loving people the way God loves us, are you a Christian?
Yeah. I mean, we have our love, but it's a failing love. It's not God's ultimate love, right. True love.
It's not agape love.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, aren't there three different actual aspects of God's love? Agape is the one that I remember when that got unpacked at Flatirons and how powerful that is.
That is God's sacrificial love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. You'll hear it. I'm not always great at the addresses, so Scripture says.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor Shan.
There you go. I like to say I've read or I've heard it said, or no doubt. All right, I like that, man. Anything else?
No, that's kind of been the big one. I've had my first reach out from work, actually, from dispatch. I haven't gone through any of the chaplain stuff yet, but I actually had the first person from dispatch reach out wanting, I need Jesus time.
Oh, wow.
I can't get into specifics or anything, honoring confidentiality and whatnot, but just hearing that from somebody, particularly from that old life of mine, that as much as whatever help, other than just being God's placeholder and letting him talk through me in that situation, what it meant to them, it meant more to me to just be a part of that God moment with them. And that's why 13, 34, and 35 jump has been something big this last week for me.
So let me make sure I'm tracking here. So somebody from your old Weld County 911 office gave you a ring and wanted some Jesus time. Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. I wasn't exactly always the biggest and boldest, I've always been kind of that silent Christian. I'm not always out there I'm not a sidewalk preacher or anything, bumping into somebody and, pumping gas and, hey, Jesus? But I've finally on this journey started to pray more in the Spirit and pray more to hear from the Spirit for those opportunities. As he said, as I have loved you, so much you love one another, and just shutting Matt down and letting God be there and be a part of even just that, hey, God loves you. It's all good. Or being full on snot crying along right with them as they're working through the hardship. We got a brother in our riding group, just had an accident 2 weeks ago up there by Buc-ee's. He's laid up in the hospital, went and just fellowshipped with him while he was there. And just to be able to have that moment of brotherhood, of connection, not just being there and hanging out with somebody, but actually where two or more are gathered in my name, I'm there as well. Having true fellowship with somebody. It's just been as we get into it, it's been a long journey for me, getting to this point, but all these little moments, just keep adding up more and more. That whole snowball effect, something small just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But being able to help that person just with a few moments of what they needed, some Jesus time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just a prayer.
Good stuff. I like it. Well, what's been hit me lately is choosing Jesus every time. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that, I mean, like, not just on a Sunday, not when it's easy, not when everything is going smooth. I'm talking about, like, when you're tired or you're frustrated at work or when your flesh wants one thing, but Christ is calling you to something else. Yep. Choosing Jesus isn't a one-time decision. It's daily, denying of yourself.
Yeah. Luke 9:23. Not to jump ahead of you, but Luke 9:23. If anyone would come after me, they must first deny themselves, pick up their cross daily, and follow me.
That's right.
And it's always that denying piece that you're talking about. That denial piece is the hardest thing for us to do.
Yeah. I'm not worried about what I want. I'm going to do what Jesus wants. Amen. Right? And just to be clear, I'm not great. I'm not perfect as this. I'm not perfect at this. It's a work in progress, of course. But it's choosing patience when we want to snap.
Yep.
I'm sure you go through that once in a while, you know.
Two teenagers, man. No, little angels.
Yes.
The red hair. Come on now.
It's choosing integrity when nobody's watching. God, I could do this. Nobody even know about it.
Yeah.
You know, or I'm going to choose Jesus, right? It's choosing discipline when you want comfort.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you know, maybe I won't pray tonight, or maybe I won't go to the gym, or, you know, well, the gym's not a good example, but I do get God time at the gym. That's, you know, a lot of...
That's a different God time, but...
No, you could turn it into, you know, it depends what you're listening to in your headphones.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to a lot of Orthodox chanting while I'm working out, believe it or not.
Hey, I could see that getting you in that right mind frame.
Yeah. It's choosing obedience when it's going to cost you something. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So there's a difference between saying you follow Christ and actually following him, right? Here's some scripture to back that up. But whatever gain I had, I counted as a loss for the sake of Christ. Indeed, I count everything as a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake, I have suffered the loss of all things, and I count them as rubbish in the order that I may gain Christ. Right? So basically that's saying like everything other than Christ is like worthless.
Yeah.
You know, comparatively.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that Romans?
Nope, that's Philippians 3:7-8.
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And then here's some Joshua 24:15. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your fathers served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Amen. Yeah.
Again, that's Joshua 24:15. So we'd all say we choose Jesus, but, you know, what about when it's going to cost you your pride, your time, your money, maybe your reputation? The big one for me is pride.
Yeah.
You know, especially at work. Like, you know, there's a lot of times, and I definitely wasn't perfect at this week, but something happened to work with you know, somebody that I'm leading and not being a good leader, you know, maybe I don't, you know, swallow my pride in these moments, you know, but I've been trying to remind myself, okay, choose Jesus, you know. So it's getting better, but it's not perfect. But Jesus didn't say, follow me when it works for you. He said, take up your cross.
Yes.
Right?
Daily.
So,
daily.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what's been speaking to me this week. But yeah, we're going to move on to Matt Fuller and what you've been up to this past decade or so. Are you able to speak about the 911 dispatching stuff?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I can keep a lot of things edited out for the confidentiality of callers and officers and everything.
Sure.
One thing I will say, the last 2 years now, prior to me leaving there, I was blessed. My wife Jenny was actually able to get hired on there.
As a dispatcher?
She started as a dispatcher, but now she works what's called guard terminal. And that's all the, like, you call in officers out on a traffic stop and suspected stolen motorcycle and the person driving it. They'll call in to the clearance channel or data channel, depending on where you are, what they'll call them, and give them, you know, the driver's license, name, and run the party, but also give the plate and the VIN number to run the vehicle. Jenny's side is who clearance will get a hold of. And yes, that motorcycle is stolen. And it was stolen out of, we'll say, out of the Weld Sheriff's Department. She's the one that would actually put the entry in when that was filed, or verify, yes, this is still active, and then, okay, we can take it out of the federal and state databases.
Okay.
But all that, like I was saying, I can edit out and keep things confidential and everything. Like like you have to in those kind of situations with that kind of work. But the last 2 years, I was actually blessed to not have to edit that stuff and be completely open and honest.
She was an employee.
Yeah, and had clearance to know that stuff.
Gotcha.
And that'll tie in a little bit later, but
okay.
Go ahead.
What made you want to do that?
I've always been interested, but honestly, it came back to what we were doing at Flatirons when we moved from the feed store over to Walmart Albertsons, and we actually set up dispatch back there.
The camera room.
Yeah. And I was working at the time. Yes, I was mall security. Yes, I was Paul Blart before the movie. Yes, I rode the Segway. I put about 7,000 miles on the Segway in my time. I was riding the Segway before the movie. I just want to say that. We did dispatch there as well. Dispatch for mall security, but also we had Broomfield PD posted there. It was at Flatirons Mall down in Broomfield. Okay. And we also talked with their dispatch center. So doing that, setting up what we did, we had that one August, we had Strong Tower principals or something come in. And every Saturday through August, we were doing a real intensive program with them. Uh-huh. And one of the guys was from former Air Force security forces. And particularly, he did dispatch work there. And we had one of the scenarios going, and I just happened to be the one that got selected to be the video room guy for the day. And we had, I don't remember if it was an active or if it was a medical and then an active in the scenario. But as we started going, things would get called out, and I'd be relaying and jotting down information, keeping track of times and ETAs and everything. And he noticed that I was actually sitting there with a pen writing on my hand to keep track of everything. Uh-huh. And started taking steps closer and closer and just calling out random stuff, trying to trip me up. And after we were done for that day, do you ever think about dispatching? Because you did pretty darn good with that stuff. You know, nice. If you had been in my squad, I would have been talking to you about coming up to do that. So that was kind of like God's little seed there. Huh.
I do remember you were really good at, like, comparatively to like me, you were really, really good in that dispatch office. So that makes sense. And I do remember you going through the interview process. I remember seeing some posts like, one more step or something like that. How was the process getting hired on?
Well, first I applied with some different ones, but I went through one of the funny parts of my journey with this. I applied with a agency. I'll leave your guys' name out just to save you some embarrassment. Working through the steps with them, obviously, application, interview process, basic testings, and it's like some of the testings, dictation work, so words per minute kind of stuff.
Okay.
But memorization too, reading off, 10 to 20 digits, numeric, alphanumeric combinations to see if you could remember. So that way, somebody going over the radio giving you 1 Adam zebra, 4 Mike zebra for some sort of a serial number, VIN number or something. Psychological test, a lie detector test, which I've done 3 of them, and at least for me, I always feel like I'm the most guiltiest person sitting in that hot seat, man.
Fine, I did it.
I actually had one of the guys was like, I mean, you passed, but I still think you drank on the job. I've never drank on the job. So they're not perfect. They're like humans. They aren't perfect.
Sure.
But at that first agency, I made it all the way up through to the I got the conditional job offer, but they did 2 psych evals. And one of them was like you answer a bunch of questions and then you do a video call. And then the next one was an actual answer the questions in writing and then sit down with the psychologist. And I actually got turned down for the job because the psychologist said I could not do this job. Huh. And a year later, I got hired on at Weld County to do that job. But, and it was the same process and everything. It's kind of standardized. Some don't have psychology tests. More and more agencies are doing them a little more frequently. But it kind of takes a special breed. So they kind of maybe we don't want to scare away a potential good employee because they may not get hireable because of that. I'm kidding. But I got hired and started going through the academy. I actually got fired in the middle of my training process.
Really? From Weld?
From Weld.
Wow. Tell us more.
It wasn't. I was terminated from the dispatch program.
Okay.
Because I was struggling. I was struggling with stress, having anxiety attacks in the middle of scenarios and things. And even though we weren't doing dispatching and call taking at the same time, we were just focused on call taking. My mind was still just focused on the big picture of I'm going to be having to manage a channel and be on this phone with this person calling in for this emergency. How am I going to handle this? And there was too much Matt going on in there instead of turning it off.
Okay.
But within the same breath, I was asked to stay on as what's called an administrative call taker. That is, all I answer is just somebody calling the regular police line. And I could handle most calls. There were still a few that might be a little bigger that I'd have to kick off. Yeah. And it was funny. My training manager at the time, admin, you'll never get anything active coming in. My first week, I handled 2 disturbances, one at a Walmart, and I had to get the supervisors like, hey, I need some help over here. And getting the calls over to somebody that can handle it. So her and I got to have a couple of good talks of, you lied to me about that.
That's funny.
But so for about 8 months or so, that's all I did for 8 hours a day was answer anywhere from 80 to about 105 calls in an 8-hour shift.
Wow.
And administrative, everything from barking dogs, if you can't tell, that's making my eye twitch, to shoplifters or cold burglaries. Somebody came home, found out somebody broke in their house, that kind of stuff. And I actually got asked to go back to the academy to help train the next batch of people that were getting hired on in administrative call taking. And then I got to go from helping them get through it and get signed off, and they were moving on to their first channel. And at the time we had 2 disciplines, law and fire, and we still do. Some places break off the clearance, the data channel running all the confidential information. They consider that like a third. But when they were breaking that new group off, I just kind of, hey, I'm helping you train these people that are doing what I'm doing right now. They're just taking on a radio channel.
Right.
Can I get in on that? And the supervisors and the center managers met and decided it was time for me to go ahead and do that. So went through Fire Academy, and for about a year and a half, I did administrative call taking and fire dispatch.
Okay.
And then I eventually got cross-trained on law channel, being able to handle officer stuff, or police officer stuff and sheriff deputies. And then I got clearance training. Then I finally got to go through advanced call taking. So to be able to take 911s, the ones I was struggling. And I made it halfway through, man, I was nailing it. Okay, this is where I needed to be. Okay, now I know what it is. Learning the emergency medical dispatch part. So when you call in with a medical piece, we use software from ProQA, the company that puts it together, on what kind of diagnostic questions in order to ask to find out, is this a burn? Is this a broken arm? And then what kind of information, how to help you splint it or flush it with cold water, that kind of thing. And de-escalation techniques and whatnot. Now, you remember the training that we did on safety for de-escalation techniques. Mm-hmm. Take away the not being able to have that physical piece, only doing it verbally. It is a completely different world. It is so hard, but cool. But through that process, I got COVID.
Oh, geez.
So, and it was literally halfway through, and I'm emailing everything through it. Like, I can keep doing it. Come on, just give me the assignments. No, you're on sick leave. You got COVID. So I got postponed again. And then a few months later, got to go through academy again. And I forget what happened. I had to miss, that was my third time. So finally got signed off on it. Then I got the clearance training so I could run that side of stuff of traffic stops and the other calls. So I finally was fully signed off for about the last 3.5 years of my career there.
Okay.
I eventually actually officially became a certified training officer, and then certified training officer 2, or communications training officer. We'd never quite decided which way we wanted to go, but it was the CTO.
Got it.
And my first trainee I ever had, I trained her literally from step 1 all the way through completely being signed off within about a year and a few months.
Oh, wow.
And somehow out of that, I got recognized as Trainer of the Year. My first year as trainer.
That's awesome.
She is now one of I would say, but I might be biased, one of our better trainers there. Wow. I'm not there anymore, so one of their better trainers there. It's been a blessing being able to do the job, but also help those doing the job while we're working the job together.
That's awesome. Now, I do remember seeing you did get recognized also for saving someone's life via the telephone, maybe?
I actually, we have some different awards for if you were handling like one of those active shooter moments, or some sort of big traffic accident or something, you'd get like a Service of Excellence Award, something like that. But then we have something called the Stork Award, and that's actually helping somebody deliver a baby. And Greeley ambulance crew, you all ripped me off. I was 3 minutes away in the middle of Greeley from helping this dad deliver his son. Oh, wow. But thankfully, the supervisor, she called over the radio 3 minutes later and dispatch, we have a healthy baby boy.
Oh, wow.
So, but the awards I got, I actually had 4 what we call lifesavers.
Yes.
And 3 of mine were for walking people through CPR. And then ambulance crew arrives, gets them to the hospital, and they leave. And that's how you get the lifesaver reward is them having a healthy outcome of leaving the hospital.
Gotcha.
Now, sometimes that might be within that week. Sometimes that might be a couple of months down the road, depending on how bad that heart attack was or whatever.
Or they could die at the hospital.
And then you don't get the lifesaver. It's not that you weren't doing your job. Right. That's just the guidelines. The
criteria.
Yeah.
I understand.
But the fourth one was actually walking somebody through giving multiple Narcan to somebody that was overdosing.
Wow.
And one of the CPRs was a little weird because you're not supposed to do CPR during a seizure when somebody's seizing. You got to let them do their thing with the seizure.
Sure.
That was one I never expected to like. I was sure I was that. Matt, we got to have a talk. You really screwed up on this one. But by God's grace, I had 4 moments of God just working through me in those, because I can't tell you much about them because
out about the experience.
That not just the confidentiality piece. That was God working in that moment. That wasn't Matt.
Wow. That's intense.
I've talked to some people that were ready to kill themselves. There's one gentleman that, in particular, that had a shotgun next to him. He was getting ready to do it. And God actually opened up an avenue in the middle of that call for, I didn't get to pray with him on the phone with him, but we were actually able to talk about God because he opened up. And from that moment on, that was a completely different phone call.
Wow. So if they bring up God, you could speak about God.
Yeah. Well, there aren't any rules. They didn't. I really haven't heard of any rules at any other centers, but it's kind of that unspoken thing that.
Yeah, I just had my guest last week. Her episode will post tomorrow. She's a counselor, a therapist, and it's if they bring it in, you could speak about it. If they don't, it's kind of discouraged. So
yeah,
good stuff. Man, it sounds like what a journey getting through that, and it sounds like you were really good at this by the time it was all said and done.
God was good at it. I was just a good conduit. He's given me a lot of skills and abilities over the years. My spiritual gifts are service and mercy.
Okay.
And it really, when you're working in your spiritual gifts and what God gives you, that's really those out of body experiences. At least for me, that's when I've really been able to go, wow, okay, this is what God's using me for in this moment, because this is Him doing it all, not me. I've that last year or so, it was a little rough. Especially when people would call 911 because their dog got out of their house.
I bet.
One of the things, one of my favorite supervisors I had there before she left, she was real famous of having to remind me that it's not that it's an emergency to you, it's an emergency to them. Yes, sure. Is it a misuse of 911? Sure. Your dog getting out, is that really a 911 emergency? No. And I will kind of get up on the pulpit here for one thing. 4th of July, somebody shooting off fireworks, do not call 911, please. From about sundown to about 10:30, we answered, I think, 1,500 phone calls, 1,000 phone calls for the entirety of Weld County.
Like just complaining or thinking it's gunshots?
Both.
Gotcha.
Because it's a firework call, even though I know what a gunshot sounds like, so that's gunshots. No, that was fireworks, sir. I can hear them going off in the background. That was fireworks. But I've had people call in I hear gunshots, and yeah, it's gunshots. I can hear it on there. I actually, one of the nightclubs up there, somebody called from the parking lot, and I could hear the AR going off.
Oh, wow.
In the parking lot.
There's nightclubs up there?
Some I don't know the Hispanic ones.
Gotcha.
smaller,
Yes.
but like bars and whatnot. They call them nightclubs.
They call them nightclubs. Yeah. I get that. So Matt, you man, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears through that journey from the jump between struggling, getting terminated, asked to stay, asked to train people, going back, getting COVID, and then, finally getting through it, and then God being really good at using you as a conduit. How do you leave? Like, was there any burnout? Did you want to leave, or did you start to dislike the job, or you just felt called to something else?
For about the last year and a half, burnout was there pretty hard.
Gotcha. What's sorry to interrupt. What's the average lifespan of a 911 dispatcher?
Define lifespan. Career span. Or actually, I don't know if I've ever heard a statistic. From my experience, there was about a year and a half.
So you see a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, and a year and a half, honestly, is little gracious. Probably a little closer to a year, because we have some people that literally they quit during academy. They will make it through academy and do their first day on the floor. We've had people walk out in the middle of their first day, like actually get up and walk by the supervisor, put their ID down, and just see you later. Wow. But I was also blessed with working with some ladies, and one of the guys up there that have 18 plus years. I think there's one lady that's close to like 25 years or more up there. So you get to see kind of a broad spectrum.
So what was the burnout related to? The non-emergent calls that people think are emergent, or the real serious calls, or was it a lot of hours? Like, how?
Yeah, we when I was originally hired, we had a normal 8-hour work week, so 40-hour work week, 8-hour days.
Sure.
Then we went to 4 days on, 3 days off, and so we had your first or your last day. Well, one of the days was a 4-hour day, and then the other 3 were 12s. And that's actually, for me, that was when the burnout started setting in and pretty quick. Gotcha. But thanks to God, I was able to get through it and keep getting through it, because it's not my power, it's His power. And it was a combination of things with the burnout. Prior to COVID, even with the 911s, people were different. Post-COVID, people suck. And I know I was on here talking about
love God, love people.
Yeah, God loves people. And that's where some of the burnout was. And that's where denying myself and pick up my cross daily, that's where I was struggling. And I still struggle with that.
Sure.
And that was part of the burnout that I was very conscious of and constantly fighting call to call, because somebody called 911. My dog got out. Okay, why are you calling 911? Yes, this is an emergency to you, not to me. Or my neighbor's playing their music too loud. Well, it's Saturday. They have 20 people over there. It's somebody's quinceañera or block party, something like that. Are you calling because it's an actual problem, or are you calling because you didn't get invited and you're bitter?
Now, do you get to talk to these people like that, or
no? You can't. Those are some of the conversations going on up here with Matt
before you choose Christ. Gotcha.
But some of that. Yeah, but how rude people are, how nasty people can be. Yeah. I pay your salary. You need to do what I tell you to do. Well, I pay taxes, so I pay myself. But, since you pay my salary, how about a raise, man? Because do you know what I do? Do you know what I have to live with?
All valid points. I like it.
But also the workloads, the pressure, because I have done a CPR call, and I didn't have what we called a clear channel. When an officer has something like a shooting, suspect running from them, something like that going on, something major, they'll call for clear channel. And that means nobody is talking except for those that are involved with that incident. Really, some agencies have their own dedicated channels, the bigger ones. But then we were a consolidation dispatch center. So we had areas of like 10 towns, 15 towns were combined into one channel. So it's not just one agency calling out. So it's a little easier to manage versus, somebody over here in Fredericks calling out for a clear channel, but yet the guys over in Hudson and Lock Bowie are dealing with something and they need to speak on the radio, but they can't because of what's going on over there in Frederick. So, but imagine having to walk somebody through. And when you're doing a CPR call, when you get to the actual hands-on chest, you're literally going, we have a counter on the screen going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're counting it. Yes. Every time I wanted to start, staying alive.
Another one bites the dust works too.
The Imperial March, dun, 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 dun. There you go. It's something like 104 to about 125 beats per minute on songs work for you. But imagine doing that, and then all of a sudden in your ear, you hear, when you're on the phone with somebody, they're on your headset. But then we have speakers set up, and all of a sudden, because I'm covering the law channel, somebody calls out on a traffic stop or a foot pursuit, and that's the channel you're running. So the stress. And that's the things that even officers, fire department personnel, they don't understand about a dispatcher is you are literally in the moment helping somebody through probably the scariest moment they're dealing with ever on the phone. And then they're getting impatient with you on the radio. Like, why don't you have that license plate on my traffic stop? Well, it's coming, but I am kind of busy here.
We're saving lives over here, bud.
You guys, and I've done ride-alongs. Buddy I went to high school with is actually a Weld deputy. He's part of the reason I ended up at Weld was like, hey, why don't you come apply up here? Sure. But I've done ride-alongs with him. I've done ride-alongs with a few other agencies. So I know what they're dealing with out there. I've never had to deal with it, but I have an idea of it. Same with I got to go out and participate in something called a Hurt Man Rescue for fire departments. And it was them working out at actually Platteville Gilcrest Fire Station 2. They have a cool training area, and they've got simulated roof inside, so you have to practice. They literally either spray paint the inside of their visors or shove plastic bags in there to lower your visibility. So like you're going through an actual fire, having to deal with smoke, and then rescuing one of their guys that's been pinned down or gone unconscious, that kind of thing. So I've been able to see what they've done. We've had fire personnel come in and talk to us about what it's like while they're working structure fires or vehicle fires. So I've got a very good idea of what they are doing and what they're going to need in that moment. And that is a telltale sign of a good dispatcher. And that's something I always tried to instill on my trainees. It's not just getting good at doing your job, it's getting good at anticipating what that officer, what that fireman, or what that EMT is going to be calling out for.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's not that my job is any easier or harder than their job, but you're singularly focused where...
Right, you got a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts.
But nationally, and they still look at it as just a secretarial job. That's literally what it's classified as.
Wow, that's interesting.
Thankfully, couple years ago, it actually got passed here in Colorado that we were recognized finally as first responders.
Oh, that's cool.
And I will say we are the first responders because we are literally answering the phone call and getting the help to them.
Absolutely.
But that's a constant debate in the first responder community. So
the first responder is the one that calls. They're literally first.
Good point.
So got a little burnout going on. How do you walk away, Matt? And how did you, like, what was your next steps?
Unfortunately, over the day before Thanksgiving, my mom had a medical episode, and I had to take her into the hospital. And I'm not going to get into all the details of that, but it was an 11-day hospital stay, and I had to go on FMLA leave after that to stay home with her. It was really coming down to seeing that we are at a different point of her life. She'll be 80 this year. And unfortunately she has Alzheimer's, and it's just having to recognize that there were some medical things and also some of that forgetfulness with the Alzheimer's that had some medication complications with it.
Sure. And
needing somebody to actually be there to help take care of her. But I was still handling the job. I was still able to do everything. But you always have office politics. You always have somebody you may be working with that, you know what, I just don't get along with them. Doesn't mean you can't be cordial. But if you're denying yourself, you're still going to love them, whether
they love you back or not.
Yeah. And that was a big part of my journey too, spiritually, sure. Dealing with that and actually coming to know that. But while I was home on that FMLA leave, Mom slept a lot. So I'm sitting there twiddling thumbs, not doing a whole lot. And my quiet time with God that I had every day started getting, more and more. And he finally asked me, Matt, I talked to you 2 years ago and talked to you about doing first responder chaplain. You said yes. So what are you doing? It's been 2 years.
So you are specifically training to be a first responder chaplain.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I'm actually working with my ministry lead up at church for Celebrate Recovery to possibly develop what do you want to call it? Sub-ministry of it. Celebrate Recovery has a thing called Welcome Home. It's a ministry within Celebrate Recovery, but it's vet on vet. So it's only vets. They have pastoral care ministry, mental health, CR inside, which you actually had a guy that does the Denver ministry, the street teams and whatnot a few episodes ago.
Oh, James?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. Which offline, I need to get hooked up with him because.
Sure, I'll give you his number here in a minute.
Yeah. But he does, it sounded like he did CR inside or something pretty close to it. Mm-hmm. And they have Children's Place, which actually is going in and working with kids that are dealing with, sexual abuse, physical abuse, that kind of stuff, which, that's some scary stuff, trying to help somebody with that. Sure. But they don't have anything for first responders. So we're getting together as a ministry lead team to try and develop and work on a way to put this program together. But it's not just a program for them. It's what I'm going to base my chaplain ministry on.
Gotcha. What kind of training do you go through to become a chaplain?
Go forth, my son. No. There are different schools or training organizations that'll do it. I ran across a few out east and back in Oregon and Idaho of a sheriff's department that actually has a chaplain course.
Gotcha. Do you have to take a course, or
part of it is going through a course. I don't know if it's the actual certification of I went through X amount of hours of course, but there is an ordaining process at the end of it.
Gotcha.
And doing the coursework, that's fine. The ordaining process is what scares me.
What do you got to do?
I have no idea, but I know I've talked with my pastors at church, and they're going to help me through that process, because the one place I'm looking at, you do a 40-hour course online to get the curriculum down in order to kind of help you get started, but then you go through the ordaining process. And it's, I mean, people get ordained all the time, hop online and get ordained to do their friends' weddings and stuff. God calls you into mission work. People go online and get ordained all the time in order to go forth and do the kingdom's work. Sure. It doesn't necessarily make it any less, but those that get called to that are held by the Father to a different standard. And that's that reverence, that like pause moment. It's not that I'm scared. I never thought I was going to be there, Jam.
Gotcha.
I never pictured myself as somebody that God was going to call in that way. And so as I go, I'm getting ready. I'm trying to get Mom squared away first. Sure. That's step one. But step two, that God made clear in that time of quiet time with him and Mom was I was done with dispatch. No more. And it is to go forth and help those that don't get enough help in that job. And not just dispatch, with police, with fire, with EMT. Sure. And even beyond. We talk about doing prison ministry with CR, and who knows, I could end up going to the jails to do some of that stuff. Sure. The Weld County is actually looking for a chaplain for the jail right now. Gotcha. And the day that went up, I had 3 people from dispatch send me the link for the job.
That's funny. Yeah, I think sometimes after a tough call, with the fire department, because I've been on a few ride-alongs with these guys, they'll have a after-action report, basically. Yeah. And I think if it's serious enough, I feel like there's a chaplain that comes out.
It depends if they're available or not. Sure. And by available, I mean whether or not they're built in. Some of the stuff I've found out is some of the organizations do have in-house chaplains. Sure. And there are quite a few actually around here but it's their secondary job. Right. But bigger agencies, like you go back to where you're from, New Jersey, New York, and Maryland.
Don't curse me.
Sorry, I thought it was New Jersey, but I knew you were from, I had a 50-50. But those bigger agencies, they don't just have one chaplain. They have 2 or 3 on staff, and they're actually a paid position. And it's not that's what I'm looking for, is to go find a place where I can be hired and get paid. I'm going to wherever God's going to call me. I don't know if I'm going to end up over here at Buc-ee's working, 20 hours a week, just part-time and doing the chaplain stuff the rest of the time. Sure. It's wherever God's going to lead. I know the ministry he called me to, and it's helping first responders, helping those that help everyone else. Yeah. But also celebrate recovery.
Yes. So let's get into celebrate recovery. But you mentioned Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's plays pretty good, don't they? I mean, I see some signs over there. It's like
it was. I'll be honest. It was even just working, like going and mopping the floors and whatnot. That was like $20 an hour
right.
when they first opened, right? And
right.
I think it's still gone up a little bit. Like
how much to make the brisket Sammys?
Not. I don't know if I'd be able to keep that job long enough because I'd be eating too much of samplings.
That's funny. So let's talk about Celebrate Recovery. Now, Matt, were you in recovery and that's how you got involved with this, or how did you get involved with Celebrate Recovery?
The ministry got started at our church because God called up Steve Linderholm, our ministry lead. Sorry, Steve, if I butchered your last name. I just always call you Steve. Called up Steve, and then David Martin is our other kind of co-ministry lead, or triumvirate, whatever you want to call it. But they got called to start the ministry of Celebrate Recovery in order to help those with hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Because it's not just about I'm a drug addict.
Sure.
I'm an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to kill myself because my girlfriend just dumped me, mm-hmm. and I don't know how to deal with it. It's about I'm struggling with forgiveness. I'm struggling with grief, the loss of a loved one. CR is for everyone.
Right.
So they got the ministry started, and at the time, I went from safety team stuff to I was working the sound booth, mixing the music, while my wife Jenny was up on the worship team. So I got really heavily involved with the production team, running cameras, running lights and lyrics and sermon stuff, and actual working the music board. So they needed that for Celebrate Recovery. So I kind of came on board to help with that. And I think it was about 2 weeks, and God finally kind of, hey, so you remember when you were going through your discipleship classes and do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Holy Spirit. Do you remember why that stood out so much to you? Remember how it didn't make any sense? Yeah. It's because of this ministry that you are now going to go and be involved with.
Wow.
I was never in recovery for substance abuse.
Sure.
By the grace of God, I've been porn free for 2.5 years. And along with that was tied in were anxiety attacks, suicide attempts, wow. Yeah, and panic attacks, which I still go back and forth on the panic attacks being actual spiritual battles.
Sure.
Because they were pretty heavy. But I'm still dealing with some anger issues, some codependency things that I didn't really recognize that were affecting me. I'm a very big people pleaser. Because as one of the personality tests we did at dispatch with my training director, I was the center's golden retriever is my dog personality.
Oh, wow.
So I want to be everyone's friends. But that comes from the codependency and the people pleasing.
Gotcha.
So I went from being a part of the production team and the background stuff to actually coming alongside one of the actual 12-step groups and actually teaching the big lessons during the big night.
Nice.
And now I'm a part of the ministry lead team, like you had said, with Steve and Dave. I have some great mentors in them helping me get trained up and learning everything, but also learning how to walk with God in not necessarily a different light, but with a different purpose, a different perspective of not just I'm focused on me and my walk with God. I'm focused on my walk with God in order to help others with their walk with God. And yes, we can do that just one-on-one, but it's a different light when you're helping somebody that's going through some form of an addiction or a hurt or a habit or a hang up.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being transparent on those things, and congratulations for breaking free of
Thank you.
some of your strongholds, I guess you would call them.
Yeah.
Is that a proper term? So,
Yeah.
And then so Grace, I'm sorry, what's the name of the church?
It's Grace Community Church.
So Grace Community Church started Celebrate Recovery, which is statewide, nationwide?
It's worldwide, actually.
Worldwide. And it started here?
No. It was started back at, I believe it was Saddleback Church in California back in 1992 or 93.
Gotcha.
Under Rick Warren. Jeff and Jenny, actually, I don't know if it's Jenny Baker, but Jeff Baker and his wife back then were with Rick Warren and went to Rick with... essentially, it's AA, but it's based on the Beatitudes.
Okay.
And that's where our part of everything was developed from that.
Gotcha.
And they started that journey, and it's bloomed into this worldwide ministry now of helping people in every stage of their recovery process. And it's changed from a recovery ministry and helping those with addictions to actual discipleship.
Gotcha.
Because that's what it's really about. It's getting everybody to recognize, like my wife's famous saying, don't worry about this, worry about this. It's not about your struggles down here on this world that you need to worry about. It's about where is your heart, where is your relationship with God.
I like that.
Jeff and Jenny Baker, Johnny Baker Jr. and his wife Jenny are now leading the national ministry. We've got 3 or 4 other different leaders nationally of it. So there's 3 CRs within, I think, like a 50-mile radius from our church. So
is Jenny on the leadership team or the ministry team as well?
She, our wives are included in on that ministry lead team.
Gotcha.
And that's been a blessing too, to walk through that journey, not just with myself, but with my wife Jenny, watching her come into full bloom of a child of God, a woman, God-fearing woman. I don't know what I did right, Jam, but I got blessed.
What is your favorite part about Celebrate Recovery?
The victories, seeing God working in somebody's life, seeing that moment of realization of, do you know God, and just know about Him, or do you know God? Do you know that there's a difference between being a believer or a follower, and watching somebody realize the difference and make that commitment to be that follower, and watch that life transformation process happen.
Sure.
I've seen a change in a few of the addicts that I've been able to help over the last year and a half, almost 2 years that our ministry's been up and running. But I've also seen people that have backslid and completely walked away.
Relapse.
Yeah. But for me, watching somebody make that connection, that realization, that's like giving a gift.
Sure.
It's one thing to receive a gift, but for me, giving is better than receiving.
100%. How many people are in the program at Grace Community Church?
We average, the last 2 weeks, we've been between like 50 and 56 on our big group nights. We have, I think it was 45 in step studies, which is the 12 steps.
Okay.
That's between 2 women's groups and 4 men's groups.
Okay.
Steve and Dave started the first step study group. And then when I came on, I actually started teaching a couple of the lessons there while Steve was helping me get up there. But I actually just finished walking our first group through getting their 12 steps. So they did it from start to finish.
Nice.
And we did that in about 13, 14 months. So just over a year, which is, it's anywhere from like 9 months to a little over a year on average for somebody to finish their step studies.
Gotcha. Does Celebrate Recovery, do they encourage outside like clinical help, like talk therapy and or medications?
That is solely up to the participant. It is encouraged. When you are ready for that in your journey, by all means, go get that help. We've got some guys that are a part of our ministry right now that are actually getting off of medications that their doctors put them on, that is the reason they're here at CR, because it messed them up more than...
Sure.
So, and that's what I mean about CRs for everyone, because it's for any stage, it's for anything that you might be struggling with.
What's a sign that somebody should consider Celebrate Recovery?
Anything. Like I said, it's actually more of a discipleship class rather than just a recovery class.
Gotcha.
But are you? I mean, obvious things as somebody that's hooked on drugs, hooked on alcohol. My personal thing with porn. That was something I've been struggling with since I was 12 years old. Wow. And
it's an epidemic for sure.
It is the worst one. There are actual physical repercussions as far as like leading to death with substance abuse, with alcoholism and things, obviously.
Sure.
But sins of the flesh, and they are the worst corrupting things that will lead people down through those other roads.
Sure.
But in the church, I heard a week or so ago that it's like somewhere between 70 and 80% of all church-growing men deal with porn addictions.
My guest last week, Cicely Owings, she, like I said, she's a therapist and specializes in addiction, you know, and just talking about porn and what it does as far as your arousal template and the things that it shuts off. And I mean, it's just crazy. And then the kids, you know, when they witness porn, that's their first exposure to sex.
Yeah.
It just really skews what it's really all about. So
God made us to have that relationship between husband and wife.
yeah, it's a covenant.
And it is this special thing because God, not just because it is, but that is what God created. That's the way it was intended. And now being exposed to it, especially so soon, it's corrupted.
Yeah.
It's not just corrupted because we live in a broken, sinful world. It's corrupted because now, well, the vanilla way, the normal way to have sex, you don't think that's the way to have sex. I got to have it like what I just watched on that.
Right.
And but that's the other rabbit hole about pornography, about sexual immorality things. Is it may start out what you want to call vanilla, just sex, to now we've got to start going to something that isn't giving me that thrill. That's not giving me that rush anymore. So now I'm going to start taking it to something darker, to something darker, to something darker.
Yep.
And it just perverts that gift that God gives us. And it corrupts, like I call it, I'm having to reprogram my brain now.
Right.
Yes, God healed me and delivered me from it, and I no longer have the temptations of it, but I am dealing with my recovery walk and journey is now dealing with those after effects of the way my brain got reprogrammed.
Sure.
On how, unfortunately, how I dealt and interacted and loved my wife. But but also how I look just at women, period. Right. And you can see that in our culture now, not taking porn away. You can see that all they want men and women to look at each other as is just pieces of flesh. Right. And the men being looked at like that, that's something that's only come about in the last like 2 decades. Huh. If you go back and look, it used to always be just men objectifying women. But if you go back and look, it's slowly become equal opportunity.
Sure.
And there was another study that said it was somewhere around 60% of women struggle with porn now too.
I believe it.
And women have, most sexual abusers used to only be men, and now women have even started coming up in the statistics. It's still pretty. She remembered it was podcast time.
Nice.
It was a maybe once a decade a woman was a sexual abuser. Now it's still not very much, but now women more and more are becoming the ones that are actually sexually abusing little boys or even men.
Right.
Unfortunately, that speaks to how, as a society, the other part of your God's guns and guts, how we as a society of men have become soft in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And not just soft as as men and what we do daily, but also in as who we are and our identity, but our identity as the head of the household, whether you be single or married. Right. And just how you interact with people, because, you can't, toxic masculinity is bad.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, buddy, for sure.
Sorry. Hey,
you're good.
I can go in a lot of different ways around here, but
absolutely.
That's why I have got a big passion for that part of our ministry for Celebrate Recovery.
Sure.
Because it's something that can go beyond just, it's something that'll corrupt you from mind, body, and spirit.
Yep. So any kind of addiction, alcohol, drugs, pornography, but also grief, divorce. I think there's some divorce groups in there, right?
Yeah,
which would be grief.
Yeah, it's a mixture of both.
Gotcha.
But grief from loss of somebody, divorce,
gotcha.
Even pride, somebody that's prideful,
Wow.
The codependent stuff. Like I said, one of my struggles I still deal with, people pleasing. I'm putting the needs of everyone else above mine. It can help you open your eyes to what you're putting in place of your most important relationship with, which is God.
God first.
Yeah.
Yep. Gotcha. All right, Matt, I want to just talk about one self-defense tip real quick before we sign off.
Yeah.
And that is, what's your thoughts about, I mean, I already know your thoughts, but well, that sounds pretty cocky, but tell the people your thoughts about carrying one in the chamber versus not carrying one in the chamber.
You got to carry one in the chamber, man.
Why does somebody gotta carry one in the chamber?
Israeli carry, as I was always taught to call it, drives me nuts. I understand where it came from because of safety, moving around in case you might drop it. The current debacle with SIGs, which Dad raised me as a 1911 guy. I still carry 1911s, but he's rolling over in his grave because I converted to M17 off of the SIG platform, so 9mm, and especially with that whole drop fire thing that the 320 platform is having a problem with. that's where they're getting at for me, and everything I've learned over the years of why they've pushed the Israeli carry of not having one in the chamber, is strictly for a safety reason. Even if I'm, keeping the gun by bedside and I don't want a round in there in case my kid gets a hold of it, or that kind of stuff. And logically, that makes sense. But from a self-defense standpoint, for me, if I'm carrying that, I want that weapon ready to go the second it's going to clear the holster. And it's not that I'm going to be going into these situations just, I want blood. That's why I carry, because I just want to be able to do something with it. It's you're going at this level to protect yourself or someone else. And seconds matter in those situations. And microseconds matter. Yeah. And having, on average, probably 2 seconds, depending on how good. Now, if you're good, it's probably a half a second to rack. As you're clearing leather.
Yep.
If you're good, it's probably only a half a second delay, maybe even a little less. But probably on average, it's a second to 2 seconds for you to rack that slide in order to get that first round. If you remember, that's the other thing.
Yes.
Is people tend to forget and have that, oh shit moment of what is going on. I need this right now, but I don't have that round in the chamber when I needed to be able to take that shot.
Yep. Also, something could go wrong when you're racking around.
Jams, misfeeds, everything. Well, not jams, not jams.
Yes. With the adrenaline dump and the excitement and the loss of fine motor skills, you may not rack that round properly.
Yeah. May keep your, like I said, like I like to say in my classes, keep your booger picker off the bang switch.
Yeah.
Somebody may intentionally have that, because of that adrenaline jump, have their finger on that trigger, and second that slide goes, if there's something wrong mechanically, that hammer's going to follow and it's going to discharge the second that slide hits home.
Man, you're talking about hammers and leather.
Come on, remember, I'm old school, brother.
I'm talking about Strike-A-Fire and Kydex.
I have converted. I have Kydex holsters, but I still have some nice polished black leather holsters that's just what I want to carry in.
No, I get it. That's cool. I'm just teasing you a little bit.
Because you know why 45, right?
I don't.
Because shooting twice is just silly.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, like I said, Dad'd be rolling over right now because I have converted to 9mm carry, and I had that this specific debate with quite a few people in the last couple of classes on why don't I leave the round unracked. My father-in-law and I have talked about that multiple times, particularly when my kids were there, because of that fact. Sure. And even though you may have guns stationed in other places, I mean, if it's in your safe,
that's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, it's not going to do you any good. But if it's in your safe, why wouldn't you keep a round in it then? Because it's locked away and safe.
Are you talking about like a lockbox safe or your safe?
Either one, because one of my apartments, my lockbox safe was my actual gun safe because it was right next to my bed.
Gotcha. I'll tell you, the one place I don't keep a round in the chamber or any rounds in my guns is in my gun safe.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. They're made safe before they go in there. I actually almost had a negligent discharge into my safe one day. I came back from either shooting or teaching, and I threw my guns in my safe real quick. I can't remember if I left class or the reason that I had rounds in my gun, but I put it away. And then later, or a couple of days later, when I went to, go in my safe or something, I wanted to feel the trigger press on one of the handguns. And I was about to pull the trigger facing into my safe. And I was like, I should check this. And sure enough, loaded mag, one in the chamber. So, yeah, I just...
You violated the rules.
I violated. Yeah, I mean, I also violated my procedure
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is guns going to safe unloaded. Now, guns on me, guns in my house. If they're out of the safe, they're loaded. You know, if they're in the safe, they're not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm not saying that judgmental or anything, brother, because I have about mine's 50-50. I have some that are loaded, some that aren't, depending on what I might be doing with them. I've got a couple that are still torn apart that I'm still working on or cleaning, that are just, I want them in the safe rather than somewhere somebody might bump it and lose a part.
Sure.
But I'm there with you. I didn't almost. I've had 3 negligent discharges in my life. One of them, I shot myself.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. In the leg or what?
Right here. It's hard to see, but I actually had a 22 mag go through. And I mean, seriously, that little bump right before my knuckle, you know, a little bit here would have cleared my hand and I just would have had powder burns, a little bit more, and I wouldn't have had a finger.
Wow.
And it was from ignoring the rules and being dumb.
Yep.
But I've been shot.
By myself.
By myself. And I preach the rules now a little bit more.
Where are you at with your teaching? Are you teaching a lot or?
No, I've had a pause for a little while because of work. I just had so much. You remember Laren?
Of course.
Yeah, you taught with him for a little while too.
Yeah, I consider Laren my mentor.
Yeah.
As a lot of us do, I'm sure.
Yeah. I actually started working with him at Valor. And a couple of years ago, we were doing something called Ladies Night in the summer. And 1 or 2 Fridays a month, we opened it up to just ladies coming out to the range and doing all sorts of different scenarios, fun house runs, doing box drills, basic just trigger work too. But really helping female shooters getting comfortable with shooting. Yep. Period, but also with the concepts of carrying and how to actually draw and carry the gun properly, but do that proper draw stroke, the proper trigger control, front sight, whether you're on front sight shot or metal on meat shot.
Okay.
It was really, really cool walking through that. They even had a night where they let the husbands come out and play with them too. Nice. I've got a video I'll have to send you sometime. We had another instructor that was thinking about coming on with us. We ended up having a steel on steel match between the two of us.
Oh, wow.
It's the first time I've ever actually gone up against another instructor. When I started my shooting journey, I actually started doing IDPA and the local Colorado steel matches. Sure. Back with Dad when I was 14. So I've shot with plenty of people before, but I've never gone up another, instructors need to be at a different level. Not that we're Rob Latham here being able to run like greased lightning or anything, but it's a little intimidating going up against another instructor.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff. Well, we're going to wrap it up, Matt. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I think I'm about talked out, but just keep loving God and loving yourself.
I love that. Yep. And listen, you don't build faith on just big moments alone.
Yeah,
right? You build them in like 1,000 small decisions every day.
Every day.
Yep. Just keep picking God, choose Christ above all things, and do it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's all I got for this week, everybody. Appreciate you listening, and we will catch you next time. Thanks for coming on, Matt.
Thanks, Jan.